The rain fell like a gray curtain, turning the war-torn land of Lorraine into a sea of mud. I'm Sir Alaric, a knight sworn to the German king, and for 10 years this disputed border has been my world. The weight of my chainmail was a constant, familiar ache, but it was nothing compared to the weariness in my soul. Before us, a village still smoldered, the black signature of the French raiding party we were hunting. Beside me, my younger brother Klaus was a coiled spring of fury. His knuckles were white on his sword hilt. "They were here not a day ago," he spat, his voice raw with hate. "We will have their heads for this." I held my tongue. I'd seen it all before. I'd seen French knights act with honor and with brutality, just as I'd seen our own men do the same. This war wasn't a glorious song sung by bards. It was a dirty, grinding business of burned farms and dead peasants, all for a distant king's ambition. We finally cornered them at a narrow river crossing. Their commander, a grizzled old knight I recognized from past clashes, Thibaut, had his men in a shield wall. His banner, the golden fleur-de-lis, was a splash of defiant color against the leaden sky. There was no time for words. With a roar that tore from our throats, we charged. The world dissolved into a symphony of chaos, the crash of steel on shields, the terrified screams of horses, the guttural grunts of men fighting for their lives. I found myself facing a young French squire, his eyes wide with a fear that mirrored my own from a decade ago. A practiced twist of my wrist sent his sword spinning into the mud. "Stay down," I growled, not out of mercy, but out of a deep-seated exhaustion. There was no point in spilling this boy's blood. Then I saw it. Klaus, blinded by rage, broke formation. He was charging straight for Thibaut, a suicidal act of youthful fury. It was a fool's errand. Thibaut was a veteran, a rock against which waves of young men like Klaus had crashed and broken. He parried Klaus's wild swings with an almost casual ease. I fought desperately to get to them, but it was too late. I saw Thibaut's mace swing in a short, brutal arc. The sickening crack echoed even over the din of battle. Klaus fell, his helmet dented, and lay still in the mire. Something inside me snapped. A red haze descended, wiping away all thought, all weariness, all cynicism. I was no longer a knight. I was a force of pure vengeance. I carved a path through Thibaut's guards, my sword a blur of grieving fury. Finally, I stood before him. Our duel was no dance of chivalry. It was a brutal, close-quarters slugfest. My strength, born from a brother's supposed death, was overwhelming. I shattered his shield with a single mighty blow. The next sent his sword flying from his grasp. He fell to his knees, disarmed and defeated. I raised my blade, the rain mingling with the sweat on my face, ready to deliver the final killing stroke. But Thibaut didn't plead or beg for his life. He simply looked up, his breath coming in ragged gasps, and met my gaze. "For your brother?" he asked, his voice hoarse. That simple question cut through my rage like a shard of ice. I looked at him, really looked at him, an old man, just like me, far from home, fighting for a cause just as abstract as my own. I saw the same bone-deep weariness in his eyes that I felt in my own soul. Was this justice? To kill this defeated man, it wouldn't bring Klaus back. It wouldn't end the war. It would just be one more death in an endless tally. The battle was fading around us. The French, seeing their leader down, were pulling back across the river in an orderly retreat. My sword arm trembled. Killing him was revenge. Sparing him, ... what was that? With a curse that was half a sob, I lowered my sword. "Get you gone!" I snarled, the words tasting like ash. "Take your men and go! This ground is ours." A flicker of understanding, of shared humanity, passed between us. Thibaut nodded slowly. He rose, picked up his sword, and limped back to his retreating men. I stumbled back to where Klaus lay, my heart a leaden weight in my chest. But then I heard a groan. He was stirring. His eyes fluttered open. The blow had stunned him, knocked him out cold, but he was alive. As I knelt in the mud, tending to my brother, I watched the French banner disappear across the river. There was no victory here. There was no glory. There was only survival. I had fought for land, for my king, for revenge. But in that final moment, I had spared an enemy for a simpler reason. We were both just tired of the slaughter. The war wasn't over, not by a long shot. But for me, something had fundamentally changed. In the breaking of my vengeful heart, a small, quiet sliver of peace had finally begun to grow. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed this story of conflict and humanity, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more tales from history. It helps us keep these stories alive. Until next time, stay curious.